19-year-old Cutter Gauthier versus the entire Philadelphia Flyers organization and one very, very passionate fan base as well. Bryan, where do you stand on the 5th pick from the 22 draft, doing a full 180 and going to the Philadelphia Flyers management and saying, you got to move me because I'm not even playing for your team?
Well, Gino, they drafted him. They don't own him, right? But what makes this such a salacious story is we don't see this very often in the National Hockey League. 99.9% of prospects sign wherever they get drafted. And Cutter Gauthier, what makes this even more explosive is he's such a stud. He's such a good player. Now, I don't like the way he reportedly handled this, if you're going to believe the Philadelphia Flyers, that he completely ghosted them. I'll grant him the 2 weeks when he's at the World Juniors. Before that and after that, I think you need to be mature. I think you step in the room with Danny Briere and Keith Jones and tell them flat out, I'm not signing with you. So the ball is in your court. You do what you want with that. He's a young guy, but it's his career.
Did he not already say to them, move me because I'm not signing with you? They wanted an opportunity to persuade him to change his mind.
Because he's so good.
So he did tell them he didn't want to go.
Okay, but you still want to get in that room and you want to express your case if you're the Philadelphia Flyers. He chose not to do it. That's fine. But you're a professional hockey player now, Gino. It's a small world. You've made a decision. This will not hang over him the rest of his career. And obviously Anaheim doesn't care because they were quick to swoop in and get the guy. He's a stud. But he has counsel. He has family around him. I think it would have been better to avoid ghosting an organization like the Philadelphia Flyers.
Fair enough. Tortorella's comments about not knowing Gauthier from a hole in the wall, that's pretty predictable. But the CEO, president, general manager, alumni, all going very public with their comments. Kind of felt like a coordinated effort on behalf of the organization. What did you think of this big rally cry by everybody involved with the Flyers?
I think they're embarrassed, and I think they acted in an embarrassing way here, Gino, because they kept trying to convince the world, if you don't want to be a Flyer, you won't be a Flyer. You just said it. He said, I don't want to be a Flyer, and they wouldn't accept that. They kept going back to the well.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I'm going to. Is it really embarrassed, or are they just covering their butts for 2 or 3 years down the road when Gauthier comes and as a way better player, that no offense to Jamie Drysdale, but a way better player, and that they look back on this and go, we let this guy go, and now he's doing this in Anaheim? Is that not just covering themselves?
Well, obviously they wanted to keep him, Gino. That's why they're embarrassed. That's why they're angry with the process, because Cutter Gauthier is such a stud, right? This is a Philadelphia Flyer team that has a passionate fan base. They're a great hockey market. They've had a winning identity for a long time, but they've been in a bad place for a couple of years. This year notwithstanding, in the regular season, they're playing well, but they had visions. We're talking Keith Jones, Danny Briere, John Tortorella. He knew who he was. He's the top prospect on the team, but they had visions of Cutter Gauthier, Matvei Michkov coming together in the next 2 or 3 years and absolutely lighting this league on fire. So they're disappointed. Obviously, they wanted to keep him. He's a stud player. But they're embarrassed that ultimately he made the call. Yeah. They had to fall on the sword and trade him. And I think you're right. Jamie Drysdale's a good player. He was a top 10 pick himself. They get a second-round pick. But Gauthier's a different beast. He just showed that for the last 2 weeks. They wanted to keep him. He wanted nothing to do with him. That's a tough scene for Philly.
By the way, the Ducks and Flyers already played both games against each other this season. So even if Gauthier gets the late call-up this year, we'll have to wait until next year for his first head-to-head matchup with Philly. And that should be something.